War of the Worlds 2025 begins with an introduction to the world of Ice Cube, who works as a domestic terror analyst for the Department of Homeland Security. We know this because he's rocking a sweet DHS domestic terror analyst desktop background. Almost all of the movie is seen essentially from the perspective of this PC that Ice Cube is using, so you'll be seeing a lot of it. Or you won't be because you'll have better things to do than actually watch this movie like I did. Ice Cube uses a program called Guardian that allows him to access these surveillance feeds. He has a free range of security cameras, drone cameras, even cameras with convenient stock footage of the important places in the movie. He works with his boss, NSA Director Donald Briggs, aka Clark Gregg. Also, he works with or gets annoyed by NASA scientist Sandra Salas, aka Eva Longoria, who is probably super happy she's avoiding most of the online chatter despite being a prominent character in this movie. And there's FBI field agent Sheila Jeffries, aka Andrew Savage, who is someone else I've also seen in things. All of these people somehow have access to movie camera quality webcams, which definitely doesn't impact the realism of the movie whatsoever. When we meet Ice Cube, he's stuck between doing his regular job of being a DHS creep and his other job, which is being a weird crazy stalker of his daughter Faith, aka Iman Benson, who is a scientist and got pregnant by Mark Goodman, aka Devin Bostic from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, or, in my case, Jasper Jordan from The 100. He was great in that. Love your part in that, my guy. Love that show. Love The 100. Ice Cube is not just a stubborn guy.
Nope, I watch people, not weather.
He's a stubborn dad who has a tense relationship with his kids because he doesn't trust them to be their own people, make their own decisions, and live their own lives without his help. His need to micromanage their lives is only made worse by his ability to harass them through their kitchen appliances. Even worse, he's not just aware of how his frequent breaches of privacy are unwelcomed by his kids, he's proud to be able to do what he does. Ice Cube has a similarly rocky relationship with his son David, aka Henry Hunter Hall, who claims to be a tech visionary in a pre-funding stage.
Dad, playing video games is my job. I'm a tech visionary in a pre-funding stage.
A tech to who to what?
Who is using Ice Cube's credit card to buy Clanker skins in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Ice Cube hacks into his son's not Steam account and uninstalls the game while his son's playing, which as we all know is an impossible maneuver to revert and a devastating blow to any gamer's daily routine. Thankfully, much of this dialogue is not meant for Ice Cube but for us, the audience, as both Faith and David share personal info about themselves that Ice Cube likely already knows, but we, the audience, do not. It's a clever trick in the biz known as lazy writing. Ice Cube is on the job. As he's berating his daughter about how her pumpkin spice latte might kill her child and how his son is a broke gamer loser, he's also trying to locate the dreaded disruptor. See, this anonymous looking guy is talking about conspiracy theories on YouTube, so we gotta stop him, we gotta put him down. Ice Cube is trying to get his IP address so he can share the disruptor's location with his FBI field agent friend Sheila, who's gonna go in with a team to take down the disruptor. Hell yeah, let's go. Ice Cube knows just what to do. He looks up the disruptor's latest video or live stream. I don't know, it says post, but then it says live stream when Ice Cube clicks the link. Maybe it was a stream and now he's watching the YouTube live VOD. I don't know. He uses the video or the stream's URL or something and inspects the page source to get a random string of characters, which somehow helps him narrow down the disruptor's possible uploading location. This becomes one of the many times in this movie that makes me question my knowledge of the internet and how computers work and how everything works, because moments like these make me feel like an idiot the whole time. Finally, Ice Cube gets the IP address and submits it to whoever so he can get a search warrant for his FBI field agent friend who needs the search warrant to break into the disruptor's place and arrest him. He's gotta wait for the search warrant to come in though, which means we got more time to work on setting up the B plots of the story. Let's go. Ice Cube is spying on a conversation between his daughter and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, in which Faith gives us more info about Ice Cube's character, namely that he doesn't trust her, if you missed that. She doesn't want him at the baby shower, he watches her through computer screens instead of having a stronger, realer relationship in person, he's constantly spying on her, not trusting her ability to make her own decisions. It's sad. And you can even tell Ice Cube is messed up about it. Look, I'm not defending the movie. Trust me, this movie's bad. I'm just saying that I've seen movies where even this fundamental level of like on-the-nose plot and character setup is nowhere to be found. This movie at least has that. And yes, if you're wondering, Ice Cube's wife is dead. This is helpful because Ice Cube needs a little bit of a hand with the performance he's putting in, so a dead wife really helps put him on our side. Ice Cube types to his dead wife on Facebook Messenger every year and listens to a weird audio message she sent him that definitely feels like a real message someone would send somebody else.
Remember to take out the trash today and be nice to the kids. I love you, baby.
Yeah.
Back to the A-plot. Boom. FBI search warrant.pdf. Let's go. We're back on the A-plot. Let's kill this YouTuber. Ice Cube sends the warrant to his FBI friend so she and her team can bust in and take down the disruptor, yeah. While Ice Cube watches his friend screen share her raid on Discord, the DHS director also shows up on the call, stressing the importance of this raid. Ice Cube knows exactly which apartment the disruptor is in, so he backseats the FBI agent lady as he watches them go through the building via body cam feeds. Meanwhile, Eva Longoria keeps bothering Ice Cube with stupid weather pictures, which yeah, seriously lady, who cares, stop messaging us, we got stuff to do. At one point, Ice Cube reacts to some admittedly crazy lightning, I'll give him that, but the entire shot is out of focus. But who cares, we're taking down the disruptor, don't forget about that. Ice Cube does what he does best, sitting there and watching stuff happen as the actual people on the scene do the real work. If you've watched any movie in your life before this one, you'll know that, of course, when the FBI raid reaches the right apartment, the disruptor isn't there, it's a decoy instead. And that's when things start to go down. Whenever the movie really wants to make you believe that there's something crazy going down, whenever someone's in a crazy situation, they start going nuts with their phone. Already this early in the movie, they start to get creative with the framing, cropping, and editing too. And by this I mean like cropping people's faces on their FaceTime calls when they need to ADR in a new line, but they can't show the person's mouth on screen as it wouldn't match this new line they're putting in.
Sorry, I guess I should have talked to Faith before I made sure it's my bad.
Or when people are running around outside during an alien invasion, but it's just a clear blue sky behind them without any smoke or debris. I can only imagine these poor actors having to go outside during the pandemic and flail and scream into their phones on the sidewalk to do these scenes. That's the footage I actually want to see, someone recording from their apartment seeing one of the cast members freak out on the sidewalk below. The aliens are finally attacking, awesome. This is what I already had my Amazon Prime subscription for, sweet. We do get some smoke and debris finally. Oh no, PS4 aliens have invaded these stock footage clips. The whole planet is getting destroyed. Ice Cube watches a news reporter get absolutely obliterated on live TV by an alien meteor and has the reaction equivalent of seeing porn hidden in the replies of a Twitter thread. By the way, this news report, just pure gold. Weird, awkwardly given lines that probably needed a second take, but that costs more money, so screw that.
The breakup and burnup upon entering Earth's atmosphere, becoming what we used to be calling shooting stars.
After the initial few moments of the attack, Eva Longoria sends Ice Cube a video message, a nice little Wednesday waffle to keep Ice Cube updated on what's going on in her life. She gives a frantic assessment of the situation while some guy with a coffee casually walks behind her. She tells Ice Cube that his building is gonna get hit. And it does. We get a lot of camera shake and sound effects, and even a thrown coffee by Ice Cube himself. Thankfully, despite the massive impact, nothing in the room behind Ice Cube falls out of place, so he doesn't have to worry about cleaning that up. Meanwhile, Ice Cube's trying to get a hold of his daughter Faith, but no dice. Simultaneously, he's pulled into a group chat with the DHS director and some other people. I know it's his job and all, and probably his first instinct to do like weird NSA stuff to help his kids, but it does become a bit hard to root for Ice Cube when all this is going down, his family is in danger, and he doesn't even try to get up from his computer. He can't reach Faith, but he does see that she's made it to her lab, because she's a scientist. We learned that earlier. Thanks, movie. The stuff in her lab does fall, but we don't see that happen. It just cuts from not messy to messy. He does reach his son, David, though, who's outside when the attack happens, or at least that's what the movie wants you to believe. It does have one of the best moments in the entire movie happen here, too. Ice Cube finally gets into that group chat where we meet some of the top brass of US intelligence, like the Secretary of Defense, who holds his hand to his AirPods like they're some kind of like sci-fi ear communicator, and also he's doing a scene out on a golf course, which seems to be pretty chill despite the global invasion happening. Eva Longoria is on the call because NASA is on the ground responding to these alien meteor impacts because that's who Eva Longoria's character works for, and she needs to be doing something. Also, I'm pretty sure the FBI agent lady dies here, or she just like, I don't know, she just doesn't show up in the movie like ever again after this. Like, she just doesn't show up again in the movie. She makes this face and then we never see her again. It's never explained or explicitly shown what her fate is, no one brings it up again, and she's never heard from, seen, or talked about again throughout the rest of the movie. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I had to go back and check to make sure I hadn't missed it. I'm pretty sure this is exactly what happens. She just disappears. I guess she died, I don't know. Next, we get another one of my favorite tropes in fiction, when a character doesn't receive vital information related to the story because they say there's no time for the other person to tell them. There's no time!
Listen! Goliath collects everything on us, and they won't stop until they have it all.
Not only does Ice Cube have the time to listen, but the time it takes for him to tell his son that there's no time was probably more than enough time for his son to tell him this info. It's at this point in the movie that it's made abundantly clear that Ice Cube's son is likely the disruptor. He's not running around in some location like the other characters, he knows technology and how the internet works, he's already mentioned his disdain for what his father does for work, and it's the only character that really makes sense to be the disruptor. I was practically begging the movie to have it be his daughter somehow, or Jasper Jordan, or even the golf-playing defense secretary to somehow be the disruptor. Anything that would have been less predictable than it being Ice Cube's son. That's the problem with a bad movie like this, when it's so predictable that the viewer is constantly ahead of the movie and its story every step of the way. Sometimes predictable outcomes are good, because the destination is a satisfying conclusion to what's happened prior. On the other hand, twists and unpredictable outcomes are great, if not a necessary element of intriguing storytelling. But too many twists can make things too unpredictable or make the story hard to follow for the audience. That said, I would have taken that over what we have here. As the PS4 alien robots continue to ravage Earth, Ice Cube puts more of his terror analysis skills to the test. He somehow screen grabs images from surveillance footage and is able to generate data that isn't about the feed but the actual alien in the image itself. It's like the IP address from earlier, how Ice Cube can just generate people's passwords using a password generator command or program or something. Is it that easy? Am I dumb or oblivious to how the world works? But Ice Cube can't really do much more than put together this threat analysis spreadsheet and send it along to the powers that be. He also can't leave his office to fight the aliens either, or at least he hasn't tried yet. So the movie needs something for Ice Cube to do. Thankfully, his daughter Faith wanders in the direction of one of the alien robots and seemingly gets pulverized into a million pieces. Now that's what I call conflict. No worries though, she's still alive, but she has some kind of pipe or rebar through her leg. Maybe they could have had a better movie shooting on location, but that's not what the people want. They want Ice Cube fighting Martians from outer space, hell yeah. And finally, he's gonna go out there and fight them. He makes the move to leave his office and go find his daughter and help her himself. Actually, he finds out he's conveniently locked into the building and he can't leave.
Damn it! Lockdown!
He also doesn't try to break through the glass, which I assume is because it's bulletproof and unbreakable glass, and not because that would mean Ice Cube couldn't shoot the movie all in one place. He's got no other options, which means there's only one thing he can do: sit back down at his computer and take some video calls. Using his seemingly omnipotent surveillance state powers, Ice Cube is able to unlock and open a nearby Tesla car for his daughter to get in, and then sets it to autopilot so she can get away. Now look, I'm not necessarily gonna die on the hill defending this movie, and I know it's a product placement ad for Amazon and Tesla, and I know it's not the pinnacle of storytelling, I know, but I can't watch this part and say this is the worst movie I've ever seen. I enjoy this movie more than other actual real movies I've seen in theaters, but maybe that's because I'm sick in the head. This part is not, this is not the worst storytelling I've ever seen. We have Ice Cube and see what kind of power he has, and what capacity he has to affect the world around him, good or bad. Despite what he can do, he's still rather limited in what he actually can do, and is even cut off from what's happening out beyond his building's walls. At this point, he knows he's been putting his kids through a lot, but he still doesn't completely get it. He doesn't realize that the reason he's putting them through a lot is not because of his perceived inability to fully protect them as he wants to, but that it's because he's so overbearing and overprotective in the first place. He's not nearly there yet, but he's starting to shift in character towards realizing the moral truth of the story that he needs to trust his kids. Once I've warmed up to a bad movie, I've started to enjoy it, I'll go to bat for it. So yeah, I might ignore the shots where you can see normal everyday traffic through the car windows as we're apparently driving away from a massive alien robot destroying the city. We can see that his outer shell is breaking through though, but his old ways are still his preference. Without consulting Faith at all, he hangs up, turns off all the in-car cameras, and puts the car into low battery mode. As much as you'd think that this ongoing alien invasion would make everyone act urgently, with every second counting, you would be wrong. Ice Cube finally gets back on another video call with his bosses, although that's not before he starts the draft on a new novel. An email he plans to send to his kids later. We see that our friend Defense Secretary Crystal is still on the golf course because he's cracking the back nine and might hit a PB. Eventually, this does lead to a decision made by the US president to put aside global differences and join a coalition of nations across the planet to simultaneously counterattack the Martian invasion. And what he's watching is the War of the Worlds.
I see no other option to initiate this War of the Worlds to save us all.
It's time to hashtag free our planet because hashtag this is Earth. From here, Ice Cube locks in and figures out that every time one of those alien robots farts, they all change direction. And Ice Cube's son calls him again, as we now have time, apparently, for him to share this information that he had earlier, because that's what the script says. David explains that there's an even higher level of surveillance above Ice Cube, and even suggests that there's a program above the Guardian One that Ice Cube uses called Goliath. Somehow, Ice Cube, despite being just an analyst and not in any way, shape, or form in a leadership role, can't possibly believe that there's a layer above him and information he's not privy to. He tells his son to stop with the conspiracy crap and to run into traffic. Here we see one of Ice Cube's flaws tested. He believes so strongly in his position and what he does and how much power that he has, he can't believe that there's someone with more information, higher clearance, and most of all, more power above him. Even though he's on Discord calls with the DHS director and the US president, who very clearly know more than him and always would. Thanks to Eva Longoria's help, we finally answer one of the most important questions of the movie. Why are the aliens here? They of course want the Earth's celebrity fanfictions and furry pictures. Yes, the aliens want our data. They're locating massive data centers all around the planet to, quote-unquote, drain the servers. Just as it seemed like the humans could hold the aliens off, the Martians bounce back and start to take the advantage. The alien robots are either composed of or use these like little tiny bugs that literally eat data and data storing devices or materials. The bugs don't eat student loan debt information or something helpful. In fact, it's actually not clear what they are eating, although it's probably a likelihood that they are eating military and communications data as the attack is crashing systems across the globe. This doesn't look good. Ice Cube sees that Wimpy Kid has found Faith. See, earlier, remember when Ice Cube turned off the cameras in the Tesla his daughter was riding in, so he couldn't see her condition when she was in the car? Well, the car got her to her location, but when he turns the cameras back on, Faith is nowhere to be found, and there's so much blood on the seats! When we see Faith again, she's pulled the pipe or rebar or whatever out of her leg. Apparently, this adult, award-winning scientist didn't know that pulling a huge piece of metal out of a leg does not in fact stop the bleeding.
I thought that I could stop the bleeding if I took it out.
This is a setup, however, for our first Amazon plug, as Jasper Jordan shows off how to use Amazon packaging tape as a tourniquet. The aliens are crippling humanity. See how much we rely on data and communications, how easily society can be taken down when our most precious resource, our data, is being taken from us? Don't you get it? Us humans are so stupid for being so reliant on communications and data. If huge alien robots from Mars filled with data-eating bugs land on the planet, we're really screwed. As everything is getting devoured, Ice Cube learns that our truly most precious resource is also being deleted: Facebook memories. He watches as his photos are erased one by one in order. Most convincingly, he listens to his dead wife's Facebook audio message again, which breaks down like it's a vinyl being played on a dying record player until it too is finally deleted.
I love you, baby. Remember to take out the trash today and be nice to the kids.
Ice Cube is at a loss. He starts to click off a bunch of tabs as Facebook seems to have been deleted off the internet completely, which honestly, not that bad of a thing to happen. YouTube's still working though, and Ice Cube still has a tab open to one of the Disruptor's live streams, or the thing that he used earlier to get the Disruptor's IP address from. I guess he had it loaded up entirely, although it still looks like it's live somehow. Maybe he's watching the VOD, I don't know. Ice Cube recognizes a sentence said by the Disruptor that's eerily familiar to something his son said previously. He takes a snippet from the livestream and runs it through a voice decoding program, something that he probably should have done the first time he encountered this person to begin with, to find out that the Disruptor is in fact Diary of a Wimpy Kid. No, it's DHS Director Briggs. It's I don't know, it's this guy from, earlier with the coffee. No, it's his son, obviously, it's David. He wants to work together with Ice Cube, but Ice Cube feels betrayed. He can't do it. I understand his feelings, but at this point, there are literal aliens destroying the planet. I think we can make a few compromises here, Ice Cube. David sends over Goliath DHS docs.zip, which is all the things Ice Cube hadn't been told that he didn't know about, all conveniently organized into a nice little unencrypted folder. Not only has the government been lying, but they've even known about aliens this whole time. Also, Goliath is real. And we find out the DHS director is behind it all thanks to a poorly photoshopped photo. They knew that creating Goliath and it collecting so much data would result in the aliens invading, but they did it anyway. Briggs is so nuts he wants to have literal full surveillance and control over the entire country or even planet, and was willing to risk literally the extinction of the human race to make this possible. Why does DHS Director Briggs want to do this? I guess to be in power and be the guy leading Goliath? I'm gonna be honest, I watched the movie at least a handful of times now, and I'm still not clear what his primary motivation is. Like, why specifically he wants to do this, and why specifically he's so okay with the consequences of what he's gonna do. I mean, he's just a bad guy, I guess? Just not a great dude? I mean, who needs to explain it? Just let the audience assume why he's a crazy surveillance psychopath. After Ice Cube learns the absolute truth of what's going on, and the bad guy who's behind it, he does what any person would do. He FaceTimes the bad guy and spills the beans that he knows everything that's going on. Ice Cube somehow forgets that he can only do what he's doing because he's still logged into government surveillance programs and has access to his computer and his account. So Briggs does the smartest thing anyone does in the movie. He revokes Ice Cube's access to the government systems in his computer. Ice Cube has lost access to Goliath and thus his only real means of affecting any change outside of his office. Mere moments later, David gets through to Ice Cube despite Ice Cube having no internet. Or maybe he does and he just lost access to I mean, I thought the internet was being destroyed and he lost access to stuff. I don't know, but somehow David gets through to him and starts a conversation that looks like a weird Discord DM roleplay. He asks if Ice Cube is finally ready to join the resistance and Ice Cube accepts. David gives Ice Cube access back to his PC and government systems and programs. You would think that Ice Cube would just be immediately shut down again the moment he signs back in, but I guess the whole alien invasion thing is happening, so Ice Cube can just log back in, no big deal. I mean, maybe the DHS director should have deleted his accounts and not just changed his passwords or whatever. I mean, it's like if you wanted someone to stop playing a game on their computer, so you just uninstalled it from their PC and didn't lock them out of their Steam account or their computer entirely. Oh. To stop these aliens, a DDoS apparently won't work. They gotta go old school.
Come with a good old-fashioned rabbit virus.
Yo, that's what I'm talking about. Dad, that's classic.
We gotta go old school.
So they want to upload a virus because everyone in this movie has seen Independence Day. Still not sure why in 2025, aliens still don't have a super advanced firewall that could stop any virus. Anyway, they need to write a virus, so David brings Ice Cube into his Disruptor Discord voice chat. Here, he talks to a bunch of other losers because it's a group effort to write a virus that will work. In exchange for their help, Ice Cube gives the group immunity by wiping their criminal records, which is a thing he is able to do despite everything that's already happened. Then he uploads a zip file to YouTube to post a YouTube video? Can you do that? I don't know. And then I guess they had made a video at some point to spread the word, and I don't know. We also learn here that David's YouTube password is Erica2020, so in case you hadn't figured out by now that Ice Cube's wife had died because of COVID, now you're caught up. And honestly, this dates the movie in more ways than one. Not just the pandemic part and the dead wife, but that if anyone watched this live stream and the video and Ice Cube's involvement in it, they just would think that this Disruptor guy is posting AI slop videos, right? They wouldn't take this seriously.
Intelligence that invaded Earth. The government knew this would happen, and they activated Goliath anyway.
Sending this video out so everyone knows the truth is critical. I'm not sure how many people even know about the Disruptor, as the fake YouTube UI doesn't tell us how many viewers or views or subs he has, or what his engagement rate is, or what his CPM is for sponsored posts, nothing. But I have to imagine the Disruptor has a big audience, at least a significant one where this maneuver is really getting the truth out there. And I guess there are a bunch of notifications, so fine. There's a Chuck Schumer jump scare, and then Ice Cube is photoshopped onto the Disruptor image, making it seem like he's been the Disruptor this whole time. Ice Cube goes all out, defecting from the DHS entirely. It instantly makes national news. I mean, I get he went through some character development a few moments ago, but wow, the pace at which he leans into this new leaf he's turned is impressive. Who cares that it's unconvincing and Ice Cube shows no signs of hesitation? Who cares about pacing? Who cares about that? It's not like it would have been better if Ice Cube had a moment to test his newfound path before he had to send it full send, where he could potentially hesitate and perhaps even go back to his old ways one last time before he finally overcomes his flaws and sets himself on the right path towards change and growth, which could have been encapsulated by him making this full push into being the Disruptor at the end. So they get this virus ready and upload it so the aliens will download it and kill themselves. But it doesn't work. The aliens not only stop the upload, but they get the IP addresses of all the different disruptors in the call. Now it's the disruptors who are being disrupted. At first I'm like, wait, they're gonna actually go after these guys right now? And the aliens do, and they get nuked immediately, like it's crazy. But this means Ice Cube's son is also in danger. Oh no. The conflict has really ramped up. Not only is his daughter Faith bleeding out somewhere, but now his son David is in danger too. Well, I mean, he was in danger earlier, I suppose, but now he's in danger again. David nonchalantly gets up from his PC as an alien destroys his house. But this is one of those times that it doesn't look realistic for an actual reason. That's because David is actually okay. He wasn't actually at Ice Cube's house, but instead at a friend's. He was somehow routing his connection through to his own home to make it look like that's where he was, but he was actually somewhere else. Ice Cube rightfully points out that he just got his home destroyed, not to mention that someone else could have been there and could have been killed, and no one's asking about how the aliens apparently don't have radar or infrared or x-ray vision or something, and could only know if David was in the house from his internet connection. They couldn't like see into it and see who was there or something like that. Ice Cube's solution would have been for David to be at his home, but instead to be bouncing his connection to his friend Brian's place instead of the reverse, which is just as funny of a solution because that means Ice Cube didn't care if Brian's whole family was exploded instead.
Yeah, but they blew up my house. They blew up my house, man.
Dad, let's
Why couldn't you run that signal through Brian's house so they can blow his up?
Then this is Ice Cube's reaction after learning his son is actually alive.
I'll circle back.
Ice Cube gets back on another video call. Just typing this and now rereading it is getting repetitive. Eva Longoria explains to Ice Cube that the little data-eating bugs are biological and cyber. She says this twice. Biological and cyber. Life and computers becoming one.
Biological and cyber.
Which means they can kill it. So they get this idea. See, at the beginning of the movie, when Ice Cube is spying on his daughter, he hacks into her computer and witnesses a text convo between Faith and Jasper Jordan. He shares an article with Faith, an article that's about her, which means it's not for her, it's for the audience to know, which shows that Faith had created a cannibal code that reprograms DNA to attack 6 cells? How does the DNA itself attack 6 cells in the body? So Devin Bostic suggests that they could rewrite the cannibal code to reprogram the DNA of the aliens so they can cannibalize themselves, which is apparently something you can do. Very glad that this cannibal code was established at the beginning of the movie so the story could utilize it as a plot point later. Ice Cube leaves the rest of the group to write the code while he says he's the one that will get it into Goliath. But before he can do that, he has to do something else first. Go back to the bad guys and tell them what he knows and what he's up to. He hacks into a Zoom call where he learns that the US government is going to bomb DC, specifically where Ice Cube works, in order to destroy DHS so the aliens can't get to Goliath. By the way, earlier we learned that Goliath is conveniently housed in the exact same building Ice Cube is locked in. Also, Secretary Crystal has finally finished playing golf, a true display of well-executed minor character development. It seems like the writers and creators of the story forgot that just a few scenes ago, Ice Cube established himself as a DHS whistleblower. It was all over the news. Because not only is Ice Cube able to get back into everything in all of his government accounts, but he's also able to Slack message the office of the Secretary of Defense to talk to Secretary of Defense Crystal. The response is not even fazed by his message. When Ice Cube does join the Zoom call, he's very clearly on the call with his webcam with his name front and center, and no one responds or has any reaction at all. They just keep going on with their plan, which is at the perfect moment for Ice Cube to get the critical information that he needs. This is what I would say is Ice Cube's lowest point. His daughter is wounded, his son was nearly killed, his house has been obliterated, his Facebook memories with his wife have just been deleted, and now he's gonna get bombed by fighter jets because he's still stuck in the DHS building. It can't get worse than that. But since we need to up the stakes even more, and don't get ahead of yourselves even though you probably know this is coming, Ice Cube needs to upload the rewritten Cannibal code to the Goliath servers manually.
They're gonna bomb DC and DHS. We gotta get that Cannibal code in them fast.
Dad, you're gonna have to get the code into the servers manually.
Exactly.
No.
Knowing that he could get killed for trying to do the upload manually, even though it sounds like he's gonna get killed either way, so why wouldn't he try this? Ice Cube goes back to Gmail and finishes his email to both of his kids. Then we get to what might be the best part of the movie, and truly this might be one of the best cinematic scenes and sequences and anything like that this entire year. This, my friends, is what separates a typical bad movie from a truly great bad movie, and in that way makes it impossible for this to be the worst movie ever. For everyone in this scene, I truly respect being able to power through one of the saddest things I've ever seen put in front of my eyeballs. To manually upload this virus to Goliath so the aliens will download it and die, Ice Cube needs a USB drive. He doesn't have any because they're banned from the building he works in for security reasons. But it's okay because we have Prime Air.
Faith can load it here and I can get it to you.
How?
Prime Air.
Prime Air?
Oh, it's the feature of delivery. They've been training us for months.
Ice Cube needs to place an order to make the drone work. Diary of a Wimpy Kid is going to fly the drone manually using VR goggles and a controller, and he is going to get Ice Cube the USB drive he needs. Ice Cube places the order, then he has his daughter help guide him through the building to get to Goliath. We got Top Gun Maverick, and then we got War of the Worlds. Ice Cube even calls Mark Goose as he pilots the drone through the alien robots, and then David is on his side with the drone he's hacked. I didn't expect a drone Top Gun experience, so I'll give that to the movie. David runs out of ammo, oh no, so he runs the drone into one of the alien robots so that Mark's drone can enter the DHS building. Epic stuff. Also, at one point, the drone falls and they convince a nearby homeless man to help turn over the drone with a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Like, this actually happens, I'm not lying. As all of this is happening, Ice Cube is running through the building with Faith's help, looking to meet Mark's drone just as he arrives at Goliath so he can get the USB stick and upload the virus. The action just doesn't let up, as Ice Cube throws hands with an alien tentacle in a way I never thought I'd ever see in my lifetime. Here we finally see a different Ice Cube. He's no longer the overbearing, surveillance stalker, overprotective dad sitting at his computer watching over his children that he doesn't trust. Now he's part of the revolution, moving around on his own 2 feet and placing his trust in his kids in order to help him save the day. He can't do this without Faith's guidance, and he can't do this without David's help either, or even Mark's. He also can't do this without a little bit of phone waving because his phone is in his hand while he's running on the video call, which honestly this movie needs more of.
5 aisles down, make a left.
Ice Cube runs through the facility. The drone barely gets to him in time. He gets into the server room, and then he puts it all on the line in one of the worst film shots in all of movie making and human history. This is when the viewing experience comes full circle, because here we are looking at one of the worst things ever put to a screen. Here's a movie that presents itself as potentially cheap, but with the intention of getting over star power and big moments and effects. Known actors, a known IP, a studio-scale sci-fi epic, and yet the veneer is peeled away when we see it for what it truly is, no less cheap and low quality than any bad movie that could have been made by your cousin over the weekend. A truly ugly, pitiful moment in the movie that made me feel bad for everyone included, especially Ice Cube. Ice Cube gets to the USB port just in time and uploads the Cannibal code. You can't put his phone down the crawl, he's gotta have it in his hand and on his face, otherwise how would we get the shots we need for the movie? Ice Cube says, "I love you guys," but does he really?
I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys.
Then someone puts the USB drive into the port, which we can assume is Ice Cube, of course. If only maybe we had a little bit of those alien CG effects crawling around on this shot, that would have been nice. Everything powers down. Ice Cube may not have made it. Everyone is sad. But not for long, because a moment later, the Cannibal code is uploading. Hooray! No need to let the moment sit and breathe for a little bit, because those aliens are crashing down to the ground. Awesome. And because that happens just in time, the fighter jets abort their mission to bomb DC. The aliens are defeated and DC didn't get bombed, which would have certainly killed hundreds of thousands of people. But did Ice Cube make it? Did he survive his heroic feat? Maybe I shouldn't make movies, but if it was up to me, if I was Ice Cube, I would have been like, make sure I'm dead. I need to die here. How badass would that be? It would have been at least like, oh damn, like Ice Cube is actually dead. He died a hero, saving tons of lives and sacrificed himself to keep everyone safe. That's a deep, heavy, maybe even uncomfortable move that would have elevated this movie at least a little bit. Maybe it would have been too good for this movie. Ice Cube just apparently died, so of course Faith needs to check her email. She gets the email Ice Cube wrote to both her and David before he went out on a blaze of glory because he used scheduled send. It's a sentimental moment that's not totally undermined by Ice Cube attaching pictures of Faith, David, and Mark. Not nice pictures he had of his kids and all that, like even baby pictures or something, but of weird surveillance feed screenshots, because that's all he has. But maybe that's how smart this movie is, highlighting how truly pathetic Ice Cube's life was before he changed, and that he doesn't have nice pictures of his kids, but just these surveillance ones, and that's what he keeps at his side. We get a quick montage of the remaining aliens being taken down, more of the government truth being revealed, Faith's science stuff being praised in the media for taking down the aliens, and even the DHS director being arrested for formulating a plot to spy on citizens, which would totally get you arrested in 2025. Eva Longoria becomes the new NASA leader because I guess the writers didn't know what the name of the role was that runs NASA. I don't know. And then Ice Cube's final words from his email fade off into the distance. So is Ice Cube dead? Does the movie give things another moment to really hang on the thought of, wow, maybe Ice Cube really didn't make it? No, of course not. We gotta wrap this up. Not even a frame after Ice Cube's narration ends, we see his new wallpaper and his new desktop. He gets a call from Secretary of Defense Crystal, who wants to give him a new security assignment from the president himself after his heroic efforts in the alien attack. Is Ice Cube still a DHS employee? Certainly not after the whistleblowing and him saying he's part of the revolution, but he also has Guardian still on his PC. He declines, signs off, and lets Crystal know he can go back to another round of golf. It seems like some time has passed though, as we learn that Ice Cube has in fact attended Faith's baby shower after all. This was one of those like 5-person only baby showers, since we only see Ice Cube, David, Faith, Mark, and Eva Longoria in the photos. Oh wait, actually there's some people in the back kicking a ball around in the background of the park that our characters are definitely at, so I guess maybe they were at the shower, the baby shower? The movie ends with a privacy terms agreement, where we need to all deny consenting to data collection practices as you watch this on Amazon Prime. We get like a one behind the scenes or like blooper shot of something, and then a weird overly smiley Ice Cube, more shots of the cast, and then what I consider to be the most egregious part of the movie, no mid-credits or end-credits scenes setting up a War of the Worlds cinematic universe. So yeah, this movie was super panned critically and everyone laughed at it. So why did this movie come out when it did? Why was it made at all? Maybe it was held back a bit because it was expected to be, but then ended up being. Clearly, Bekmambetov thought there was money to be made, or there was value in this type of production, cheap and feasible, easy to make in remote conditions. The movie seems like it was filmed at least, mostly in 2020. The actors were able to work remotely in pandemic conditions, got it. But it also shows off Prime Air, which, at least from what I know, didn't officially launch until 2022, suggesting maybe filming continued until at least that year? Unless this was meant to have come out before the official launch. And then, I don't know, maybe people can check the Tesla models and see if that indicates when the movie was filmed. But I can see how it was filmed probably in 2020 and 2021, maybe wrapped in filming in 2022, and then maybe it took another year or two to get all the effects done, and that was 2024, and then try to find the right time to release it, and now it's 2025. It's not that crazy of a conclusion in terms of a timeline to come to. And I can't imagine this movie was made intentionally bad. I definitely can't blame the actors, not even Ice Cube. They have nothing to work with. They're almost never acting with someone, like in person, but instead they're always acting at a screen, a camera lens, and that's it. I mean, I really feel for them. Some of the better scenes in the movie, or at least the more memorable ones, involve a bunch of people all in the same video feed. The worst performances, almost always, were from individuals by themselves in a room working off of nobody. I even dare say to think that screen-like movies have potential, and I think that's fairly obvious. But even more so than other movies, they need to be believable. A story just can't be told through this medium, needs to be told convincingly. Everyone is living a more digital life these days, so stuff that isn't convincing, like virtual conversations, that stuff stands out even more than it did a decade ago. Yeah, I'm gonna notice every weird smooth mouse movement, and how programs work, and how the image cuts in and out, and what makes sense and what doesn't. Or being told there's an alien invasion happening when I can clearly see in this guy's background that there isn't. When it is convincing, that might make audiences have a higher affinity for the movie. What I learned most of all is that it feels like there's an untapped resource in bad movies that make headlines. There are opportunities for people to hate watch, or watch ironically, or watch with the intention of being laughed at, or dunked on, or making memes about it, or talking about it online and making content about it like I am here. Would I be making a video about this if it was just a decent movie, or a great one? Probably not. But it feels like sometimes there's a bit of a movie viewing extremism, in which a movie is only potentially interesting to watch if it's seemingly really good or seemingly really bad. If this was just a run-of-the-mill average movie, I probably wouldn't have seen it, even if it was objectively better than this movie we did get. The fact that it's getting legit 0-star reviews, 0% ratings, made me motivated to see it as if it was actually going to be a good movie to watch, or something I would be entertained by. I feel like I'm contributing to a problem in which ironic viewing of a movie or intentionally watching bad movies for an entertainment factor, that the product is not going for, aka laughing at it when it's meant to be serious, is this contributing to a lack of mid-budget, medium-sized movies, which people aren't as interested in going to see because they aren't massive spectacle movies or Oscar bait, but they're also not so horrendously bad they're funny to watch? Would Neil Breen not be one of the most talked about directors in the world if he had a bigger budget, some actual marketing, and distribution on commercial streaming services? Maybe a movie isn't interesting unless it's really good or really bad by the general consensus. One has quality on its side, the other has novelty. Will studios see the appeal in making movies that are terribly awful, knowing that they're so bad it's good quality will make people want to see it as ironic movie viewing, and will shy away from trying to make good movies because making a bad movie that could get memed into oblivion and turn into a net positive for the studio is easier and more appealing? I mean, I'm waiting for Amazon Prime to come out with the movie being the #1 movie of the summer or most viewed on Amazon Prime of the year, which I think will only be interpreted by others that there's more money to be made here. not just in Screen Life movies like Bekmambetov has proven, but the potential revenue that could be made from high-profile, so bad it's good, or even ironically entertaining, or even intentionally bad movies. Then there's even stuff that doesn't even fit back in the pandemic, that just felt outdated back then.
Officially bam. Bam. That was easy. Nah, I'm just good.
It's just a real peanut butter on the roof of your mouth type of thing. It's a weird production altogether. So what makes War of the Worlds 2025 really bad? It's the lack of authenticity in the virtual and digital parts of the movie. It's the incredibly on-your-nose and half-baked dialogue. It's the obvious, easy-to-stay-ahead-of plot and character development. It's the stiff and robotic acting from some and the desperately doing their best with nothing performances from others. It's the lack of trying and making the most out of a creative property. Ironically, this would have been the perfect movie for Twitch's old watch parties function. The movie itself is essentially an Ice Cube reaction video. It's made to be watched by a streamer in their chat reacting as it goes on. But is it the worst movie ever? No, because it's an actual movie. It has actual dialogue, you can hear what's happening, the plot has some structure. I've seen much worse. It's a movie you can't miss. And don't worry, there's more where that came from. Of course, this movie missed the mark, but maybe one day there will be a Screen Life movie that blows us all away. Or at least gives Ice Cube more to do than make faces at his webcam. As much as, at the end of the day, I really love that.